Dear students, we will continue the previous topic of resting membrane potential. We have seen what is the resting membrane potential, what are the ions which are taking part in maintaining the equilibrium in resting membrane potential, that is sodium, potassium, chlorine, and the energy required to the movement of these ions or required to the membrane are ATPs that we have studied already. Now, the movement or balancing of this sodium and potassium across the membrane is generally called as sodium-potassium pump. Therefore, we will discuss here about sodium-potassium pump. Sodium and potassium are moving across the membrane by using the energy ATP. Generally, we call it as the active transport, and this is the sodium-potassium pump. But the sodium and potassium movement by using the ATPase energy, generally known as ATPase pump, sodium potassium ATPase pump, this creates a concentration gradient by moving 3 sodium ions out of the cell and 2 potassium ions into the cell, that we have seen in last diagram. Sodium ions or sodium plus is being pumped out and potassium plus pumped in against their concentration gradient to maintain the equilibrium. Because this pump is moving ions against their concentration gradient, and therefore it requires energy, and that is in the form of adenosine triphosphate or ATP. Therefore we generally call it as a sodium potassium ATPase pump. Next, the ions moving through the membrane channels that affects the resting membrane potential. How? By way of the sodium potassium channels or movement of ions that we will see here. The cell membrane contains generally the protein channels. Generally, the membranes are made by protein and lipid molecules. So, naturally, in active transport, the protein molecules forming the channels, and that allows the movement of ions either to diffuse passively without direct expenditure of metabolic energy. As I told you last time that whenever the movement of ion is without using any metabolic energy, then it is called as passive transport. These channels allow the sodium and potassium ions to move across the cell membrane from a higher concentration towards a lower. As these channels have selectivity for certain ions, there are potassium and sodium selective ion channels. All cell membranes are more permeable to potassium ions than to the sodium ions because they have more K plus channels in the membrane than that of the sodium channels, and therefore sodium ions and potassium ions moving by different concentration gradients or different concentration channels. Again, we will continue to see the ion affection through this resting membrane potential. Generally, the potential across the cell membrane that exactly opposes net diffusion of a particular ion through the membrane, and generally this is called as Nernst potential, or we can generally call as Nernst potential for that particular ion, that may be of sodium or potassium or any other. What the activity is there, what the gated channel is open, and what the role is being there, accordingly we can call it as a, therefore we call it as a, for that ion, Nernst potential for that ion. As seen above about the sodium potassium pump and ion channels, the magnitude of the Nernst potential is determined by the ratio of the concentration of the specific ions. Ratio of the concentration of the specific ions on the two sides of the membrane. The greater this ratio, the greater the tendency for the ions to diffuse in one direction. Means the moment of either active or passive or diffusion is depends on the tendency of the ion. Then if this is to one direction, and therefore the greater the Nernst potential required to prevent the diffusion, and this is naturally balanced by the ions. Diffusion is the direct passage through the semi-permeable membrane, or if ions are slow, they generally passively move across the membrane. The Goldman-Hawking-Kaas equation, Vm is equal to RT upon F and log of Pk plus potassium ions plus Pna sodium ions plus P chloride ions upon P potassium, Pk potassium plus ions, P sodium ions and P chloride ions. So this is the equation by which we can calculate the potential of the membrane. So in that equation, Vm is the membrane potential which we have to calculate or which we have to study here. Vm is a mathematical equation applied in physiology to determine the potential across a cell's membrane, taking in account all the ions that are permeable through it. Means the ions which are moved passively, that can be calculated through the membrane, or membrane potential of that particular cell is calculated. We will see furthermore the equation used to determine the resting potential in real cells, in which potassium, sodium and chloride ions are the major contributors, or they play a key role in a membrane potential. One more thing to be noted here, that the unit of membrane potential that we have to calculate in volts. Therefore, Vm is to be used in the formula. However, the membrane potential is typically reported in millivolts, generally MV. If channels for a given ion, that is sodium, potassium or chloride, are closed, then the corresponding relative permeability values can be set to 0. As there is no activity, the permeability ratio or relative relativity permeability is generally 0. For example, if all sodium channels are closed, then potentiality of sodium is equal to 0. So this is the potentiality that to be calculated here in the formula of that particular ion, either potassium, sodium or chloride ions. So what are these R, T, F, Pk and these values? In this formula, R is the universal gas constant, that is generally fixed 8.314, whereas temperature is calculated in Kelvin or degree centigrade. Then F is the Faraday's constant, that is 96,495. So Pk is the membrane potential, the membrane permeability of potassium. The membrane which are permeable for these ions is generally Pk. The normality or normally permeability values, normally the permeability values are reported as relative permeabilities with Pk, the constant and relative constant, as that what we call it calculate in physiology. The same thing is here, the permeability and relative permeability. Pk and Pk having the reference values of 1, that is pK is larger than P, either sodium or chloride ions. And for a typical neuron at rest, pK is equal to PNA is equal to PCl, means potassium, sodium and chloride ions are in a ratio. These are always there in neuron cells, but what is the ratio of these three? Potassium, sodium and chloride ions. So this ratio is potassium 1, sodium 0.5 and chloride 0.45. This is the general ratio of the equilibrium present in neuron cell. So note that because the relative permeability values are reported, permeability values are unitless. Unless and until we are not giving the relative permeability, it becomes unitless. So sodium P means potentiality of sodium is the relative membrane permeability for sodium ions, and usually also chloride is the relative membrane permeability for the chloride ions. So PCl is to be reported. Now in this formula we have seen sodium, potassium, then temperature, Faraday's, permeability, potentiality, everything we have studied. One more thing to be noted here is that the K plus ion or potassium ion concentration of potassium molecule in the extracellular fluid, K plus is the, if here is a 0, we can say O is extracellular membrane, here 1 in I is the concentration of potassium in intracellular fluid. Okay, this is the I constant, potassium, extracellular, intracellular, extracellular, intracellular. This is about potassium, this is about sodium and this is about chloride ions, either outside or inside. So this inside or outside movement of the ions to maintain the concentration gradient or movement of ions is the unit for all ion must match in everywhere. This should be matched properly to maintain the concentration gradient or to maintain the equilibrium or to maintain the normal standard ratio of the ions in that particular moment. Then and then only the membrane potential is being positively facilitated or carried out. Now some resting potential are differently measured in different cells. We will see various cells. The resting membrane potential is changed, but for such there is never any resting potential, which is only a theoretical concept. So some means which we will see in the next clip, but here other cells then this what we are studying as a nerve cells or neuron with membrane transport functions that change potential with time have a resting potential, and this can be measured by inserting an electrode into the cell. So microelectrodes are also there that can be calculated. The millivolts or the electrode calculate the spatial potential which is present there in the cell. So transmembrane potentials can also be measured optically with dyes that change their optical properties according to the membrane potentials. So dyes also play a key role in changing the membrane potential. The resting membrane potential observed by some workers in different cells or tissues are given here. For example, the resting membrane potential in skeletal muscle cells is generally minus 95 millivolts. In smooth muscle cells, the resting membrane potential is minus 50 millivolts. In astrocytes, it is either minus 80 or minus 90 millivolts. This is quite variable. In neurons, Now we have seen it is minus 70 millivolts, and in our blood cells, erythrocytes, it's very low, that is minus 12 millivolts, because these are moving cells. These are connective tissue cells. They are moving across the body and facilitate various functions in a body. Okay, so next topic, that is third point of our first unit, is graded potential. That we will see what the graded potential, what the activity of neuron membrane potential. So graded potential in a neuron are changes in a membrane potential that vary in size as opposed to being all or none, either in one cell or whatever the number of cells there to be. They include diverse potentials such as receptor potentials, electrotonic potentials, subthreshold membrane potential, oscillations, slow wave potentials, pacemaker potentials, and synaptic potentials. These are different types of potentials, and then we can arrange them according to the grades of the potentiality of the neurons, which is variable in all cells, which scale with the magnitude of the stimulus, means their activity depends on the receptor of stimulus. They arise from the summation of the individual actions of ligand gated ion channels. This one more thing is here. Ion gated channel we have seen. This is ligand gated ion channel of proteins and decreases over time and space. They do not typically involve voltage gated sodium and potassium channels. These impulses are incremental, means increases accordingly, and may be excitatory or inhibitory. The graded potentials of the neurons are to be studied as what the activity is there, what the ions movement channel is there, what are the ligands which are involved in the movement, what are the voltage gated sodium ions, and what are the potential channels, and their concentration gradient is to be studied to know the graded potential of the cells. Now, the potassium and sodium are the main elements or main ions which play a very important role in movement of their concentrations. But as the voltage dependent channels are there, according to the change in voltage, the gates are either open or get closed. The gates are either open or closed. Now, in this gate is closed for sodium because this is a large molecule, and this gate is closed for potassium channels. So, very minor molecule also can move. This is the inside and this is the outside. This is the inside and this is the inside and this is the outside. So negatively charged ions are there and positively charged ions are inside. So from inside to outside and from outside to inside, this movement of ions is ligand gated. They occur at the postsynaptic dendrite in response to presynaptic neuron firing. One more thing is important to be known here, that these activities of sodium potassium channels or resting membrane potentials or sodium potassium pump or all these likewise activities are different in dendritic synapse and pre or post synapse, either at the end of axonal term or at the end of dendritic term or dendritic ends. There are two different connections or synaptic connections or synaptic transmissions So these activities are different in sodium in this way and generally in potassium in this way, whatever shown in the figure. Then this activity of release of these materials or ions also being facilitated by the release of the neurotransmitter material. The neuron cells releases the neurotransmitter material or may occur in skeletal or smooth or cardiac muscles in response to the nerve input. Whatever the nerve input is there, accordingly these cells shows changes in the release of neurotransmitting material, and the magnitude of this graded potential is determined by the strength of the stimulus. Generally, the graded potential can vary in the magnitude depending on the strength and duration of the stimulus. Strength and duration also plays a key role in the facilitation of the graded potential. Now we will again explain in another view the graded potential is that a graded potential is produced when a ligand opens a ligand gated channel in the dendrites. As I told you that it occurs in the dendrite as well as in presynaptic or postsynaptic, but in the dendritics they allows the ions to enter or exit also. This depends on the movement of ions, or this depends on the concentration gradient present in the cell. For example, sodium will enter the cell and potassium will exit until they both reach the equilibrium. Means the movement of sodium and potassium will carried out continuously unless and until there is not equilibrium is maintained, and the graded potential will degrade with distance. See here one important thing what we are discussing about the graded potential. This grade or the graded potential will degrade with distance, so it will decrement. Decrement means it will slows down, it becomes less decrement before reaching the end of the axon if an action potential were not generated. Means the graded potential also depends on not only the movement of these ions but also depends on the decrement or the action potential generated there too in the cells. Means action potential also plays a key role in the movement of these molecules. Now sodium and potassium channels, what we are continually studying here, these both sodium and potassium channels are positively charged and causes a change in the channel protein conformation that leads to opening of the voltage dependent channels. The signals forming a graded potential can sum or negate one another, increasing or decreasing the possibility of reaching threshold to cause an action potential, and there can be temporal summation or spatial summation if more than one signal is received to the cell. And this is about the sodium potassium channel and the ion gated movement of sodium potassium pump. Sodium potassium pump is the main which carried out all these things related to all, that is membrane potential, that is graded potential. The grades what we have seen are depends on the potentiality and the concentration gradients present across the membrane by the both ions, and as soon as the equilibrium is maintained, everything is maintained, and therefore the graded potential is maintained. So this is about sodium potassium pump. And so in next we will see origin and action potential in our next topic.